We got, see behind me?
Yeah.
The new guy, right? All right. This meeting of council to order, please stand.
We are guests on the shared traditional land of the Haudenosaunee, Wendat, and Anishinaabe people, where they built their homes and raised their families. We appreciate these lands for the food, water, air, plants, trees, and medicines they give us. We value the land by swimming and boating, working, camping, and exploring the forests. We promise to take care of this land by not littering or wasting water, composting, recycling, planting trees and flowers, not idling our cars, and saving energy.
Thank you so much, Councillor Cardy. Takes us to item number 4, which is the adoption of the agenda. CEO, I'd like to make a comment on the harbor. Do I need an amendment to the agenda, or can I just make it part of my introductory comments?
So what's that topic?
Harbor and the issue that we resolved at the last meeting.
Oh, that can be done under announcements.
Okay,
Yeah.
if I look like I'm forgetting someone, please remind me.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. So we'll stay with the agenda as presented, moved by Councillor Cardy, seconded by Councillor Aragona, that the agenda of the council meeting held on October 21st, 2025 be adopted as presented. Any additions? Call the question. All in favor? Carried. Okay, any declarations of conflict or pecuniary interest? Seeing none. Item number 6 is the adoption of the meeting minutes. It's moved by Councillor Aragona, seconded by Councillor Cardy, that the September 16th council meeting and the October 7th, 2025 committee of the whole meeting minutes be received and adopted. Any errors or omissions? Call the question. All in favor? And that's carried. Item number 7, 7.1 is the planning the phase 3 watercolor Westport pre-servicing agreement. So it's moved by Councillor Cardy, seconded by Councillor Aragona, that council pass a bylaw to enter into a pre-servicing agreement with Landark for phase 3 watercolor Westport subdivision. So we have a briefing note from Mr. Pence, but he's on the screen. So I'd like to first of all acknowledge, we haven't seen you for a while, Mr. Pence. Good to see you for sure.
Thank you very much.
Good. I also see that we've got Mr. Keene on virtual, and of course, Mr. Keene is the planner for Landark. To me, your package looked fine. Did you want to make any other comments or just see if there's any questions, Mr. Pence?
I'm just really here if there's any questions. It's very similar to the last pre-servicing agreement that was entered into for the second phase being Rice Farm. The memo reads very much the same way. We've done a review and I'm just here really for questions if there's anything that might be directed my way.
Okay, thank you so much. So, council, you've read the report. Any comments or questions? Councillor Cardy.
Yes, through you, Madam Mayor. I'm just wondering, out of the 10 model homes, will they all be the detached homes, or will there any be the townhouses or the semi-detached?
Would you know that, Mr. Pence, or would Mr. King?
I would say that I don't have an answer to that question. The model home provisions in the agreement are permissive. If you recall, we did a zoning bylaw amendment number of months ago now, because that was absent in the zoning bylaw, but we have provisions in the bylaw and we have provisions in the agreement that allow for model homes consistent with the approach that we took on previous phases. I don't know what their intent is for how many model homes or what mix of units they would like to build through the model home provisions, but it's there for their ability to construct if they so choose.
Okay, fair enough. Mr. King is not coming on camera, so they must still be to be decided, I would imagine. Hi, Mr. King, how are you?
Very good, Madam Mayor. I just didn't want to interrupt the flow of your process. So
Okay.
thank you for the opportunity to speak. I don't have any knowledge about what order things might happen, but as Mr. Pence said, we do have all three forms of housing in this phase. And so it does just give us flexibility. Usually they do kind of clump them together a bit. So it would give us the ability to build various models. The idea is not to build one thing over and over again. So
Yeah, right.
thank you.
It's good. Anybody else? Okay. I want to drag this out because we've been waiting with great anticipation for it to come through. I want to offer my thanks to our planner and to our engineer for the work that you did on this. And that being said, I'm going to call the question. All in favor? And that's carried. Thank you, council. We'll take us to 7.2, which is item for information purposes. That is a building permit update, and it's moved by Councillor Aragona, seconded by Councillor Cardy. The council receives a report entitled Administration Building Permit Update Q3 2025 for information purposes. Any questions? I'll call the question. All in favor? And that's carried. 7.3 Administration Community Grants Program Amendment. We talked about this, so this is just getting it through council, so it's in place just in the nick of time. It's moved by Councillor Cardy, seconded by Councillor Aragona. The council approved the change of the first grant intake deadline from January 31st of the in-year grant to November 31st. 30 days to September, June 30th. November 30th, preceding the grant year. It's a great suggestion. I think we've talked about it before, so I'll call the question. All in favor? Carried. You didn't see all of your counselors' eyes. They were all looking up, doing the same thing I was doing, but silently, so I decided to do it out loud. Okay, so that's good. We'll look forward to those applications coming in. And then 7.4, something that we've been waiting for, so thanks to staff for getting this across the goal line for us. And it's moved by Councillor Card, seconded by Councillor Cropper, that council receives the report entitled Treasury 2025 Third Quarter Variance Report for information purposes. Any questions about it? Councillor Card.
Yeah, from what I can see here, it looks like probably due to the software we purchased that we've adopted a new accounting system. It might have been advantageous to councillors had they had a heads up as to just how this operates. I'm a little bit familiar, but I'm just wondering if is it a double entry system that they've gone through. The one thing I do like, every line item has an account number now.
Yeah, that's right.
So it should make it easier, especially if the accounts were grouped by department or whatever, however they wanted to group them. But there are some outstanding questions here in my mind, and not that I question the numbers, just that I question the system with having not had an explanation of
Okay, we can back that up. And are you comfortable, CEO, like giving a little bit of the history of why we needed to go to this?
No, that's not my question, Your Worship. It's just if you look at it, the valve trailers in here, capital equipment, and then it's in capital equipment down below again with a different, actually, it's not a, is it 6003? I'm not familiar with the numbering system, but it's in there 3 times anyway, on that list. So if somebody could just explain the different entries. I see water meters are in under user fees and capital equipment, cost is split. I'm not sure how that works. Water tower upgrades again. So there's some reasoning behind this when you see it matched up like that. So if someone just cared to explain why we're seeing those entries twice on one sheet.
Certainly, thank you through you, Madam Mayor. Peter, you may be able to explain the split of using the valve trailer as an example easier.
So as it was in the budget, the valve trailer is split amongst cost centers. So the valve trailer specifically is useful for the stormwater system on the general side for cleaning catch basins. On the water side for period stop repairs, on the wastewater side for maintenance. The other example Councillor Card had was the water meters, which is also split between water and wastewater. So each cost center has an account with an object code. And it's a bit different presenting, but the budget had 2 numbers on each side for the fund always, just not always in the subcategory water and wastewater.
So if you go up to, there's no line number, but up top, you're talking about, valve trailer, when we discussed it at council, I think the price was 65. It's in here at 75. And the variance is minus 1,000, so that's, the year to date, though, was 8,500, and the forecast is 8,500, so. When you come back down to the bottom, it's still 7,500. Down below, it's capital equipment and the user side of it, but it's not split out between, I don't see it split out between water, wastewater and water.
Please.
So through your sure. So the 7,500 is half of the 15,000 that's on the water wastewater side. The 15,000 on the general, 75 on the water, 75 on the wastewater, 7,500. And there will need to be some balancing still. Staff have been worked on that with the consultant for the treasurer. So there's gonna be some balance adjustments through there, but the total cost of the project was well under budget. We picked up that unit off the top of my head, I believe it was under 7,000 for that unit on a $30,000 budget. And so we've got some other work to get it rehabilitated and some hoses changed to make it work well for the village. The accounting lines specifically are just the split, the end value. There may be some balancing between water and wastewater side that still is yet to occur, but the total number is still the same. The amount spent is what has been spent. It should plan to be balanced between those 2 accounts, because it should be an even 50-50
So
split.
if I have those 3 numbers, 22,500 right now, is that the cost as it stands right now, basically? Roughly?
Yeah, roughly, there might be things in there that will get separated out in the end, but the total amount is roughly accurate.
All right, through your worship, just maybe some, a better description of the line items if we're gonna get to it. I know what the trailer capital is, that's the kind of thing I really remember, but there's lots of things I don't really remember, so, replace capital equipment, sometimes the descriptions are, I'm assuming when you get down to the last 6 lines from the bottom, water tower, principal, but PRINC, I'm assuming that's principal. I know you run out of room sometimes, but until councilors get used to it, I think we need to have a little better explanation of what these line items are and Peter's explanation there of how this all stands out was great. I think that gives me a better idea now that we're standing at 22,500. I just think that Councillor Aragon and I spoke this afternoon and he was as bewildered as I was at exactly what the numbers were, not questioning them, but just how they're presented, so.
Yeah, this is for the consultants. It's important feedback. I mean, generally, we don't get this amount of detail. And And that's a bit of a learning process, I think, for her. We give authority within the budget to the managers to spend the money, and when I saw this, my concern went the other way, that although you're proving that my thoughts were right, that we don't have the background on a lot of this stuff, so what does it mean to us? So good feedback for Tammy, that what we approve in a budget, we want to know whether within that, but I do not want to go back to sort of nickel and diming everything they do, and this is what they felt a little bit like. So, but great feedback from both of you. Councillor Crapper also wants to get in, and for the CAO to take to the consultant when we get the next variance. Councillor Crapper and then.
Yes, I mean, I think for sure it's all about our learning curve to make the best use of this tool over time, and over time, it's gonna be a really, especially because we'll get it. Quarterly, I forget what it said, how frequently will we receive this report, quarterly?
You may never get this report again.
No.
You'll get a variance
The
report.
piece missing from the variance report that we used to get when done previously was sometimes a bit of a narrative. Which, so if there was a change or to make sense of the numbers, sometimes just a descriptor. I don't know where that would, how it would work with this particular software, but those have been the most useful and have, saved phone calls because the description is right there in the report. So if that was possible, it'd be super helpful.
That's good, that's really good feedback. Councillor Luna.
Yeah, my comment is in line with Councillor Card and Councillor Crapper. I mean, I did find it was a little bit overwhelming in terms of detail, but there was a lot of unanswered questions. So I would suggest that we make it a little bit more clarity, not simpler, but clearer. Also in the analysis on page 2, I got a little bit turned around on how the numbers were being presented.
Yeah.
So if we could just be a little bit more specific. I know that staff lives and breathes this every day, so I appreciate that they know it inside and out. But when we're looking at it on a briefing note, it's a little bit overwhelming, a little bit confusing as well.
It's also confusing to anybody in the public who's reading it and trying to follow along, so we can do better. This is our new first kick at with the new system in place, the new chart of accounts in place, so that's part of what's coming through here. But they can provide a different summary for you in the future. And that's what I'm gonna ask, is take the feedback, provide a different format, be open-minded, and then you'll provide feedback on that. There may be things that you like, things that you don't like, and within a few times of this, they'll get it right. So love to have the feedback. Councillor Carr.
Your worship, I'm a little bit familiar. The thing I said I really like is everything has an account number. That just makes it so much simpler for accounting. And once counselors get familiar with that, that'll help us. But I think even a half-hour tutoring session, just to go over the generalities of the system, like what we would expect to see and where we'd expect to see it. The negative numbers, how they impact the final outcome. Now that I look at it again, maybe it's not a double entry system. It just might be something unique to municipal finance, which certainly none of us are familiar with. So if we had a general outlook from somebody knowledgeable, just to say, this is what you'd expect to see and where you'd expect to see it. If you're looking for a negative variance, this is where you look. If you're looking for a positive variance, this is where you look. The notes underneath kind of give you the general overview of where we stand right now. As Councillor Aragona said, it's a lot of information, but it seems that they kind of summarized it all here in words, not numbers at the bottom, so that helps a little bit. But I just think that if we had a better understanding of why these numbers go where they go and do what they do.
And that's what we're gonna follow up on. They need to know what the numbers are and where they're going. As opposed to all of these account lines. I mean, they need to have a sense of where are we with our budget and any questions they ask, but we'll get there. We'll try a different approach next time. And this is shades of years ago. This is shades of when we used to bring all the checks in and approve every accounts payable So we can do better, we can do better. Did she like cross her eyes like,
No,
I had to-
she was being very,
okay,
intent on what you were saying.
okay.
Beyond how it was
Yeah.
presented, I did have a question that's that's sort
On the
of
quantum,
on what's in there.
yeah.
And through you, Madam Mayor, through
Yes.
to the CAO. How, I didn't understand how the need to adjust some expenses and revenues, as it says in the analysis, to the new chart of accounts is affecting what we are seeing in the actual variance report. It wasn't clear to me how that is going to affect these numbers.
Yeah, so thank you through you, Madam Mayor. So just in consultation with the financial consultant in putting this report together, I think originally what was proposed was presenting it in the format of which the chart of accounts has to be arranged now due to PSAB, and it has to go per the FIRs, how they're filed. So that's what you're seeing here, but it isn't directly transferable to what we saw in the budget. So I think I'll work with her to make sure that it is delineated, like what the budget was, where we're at, and the
Okay.
variance in that respect.
Yeah.
As far as your question about the expenses go, it may have something to do with transfers from and to reserves. I'm not entirely sure. I'd have to follow up.
Okay.
And I can get an answer back to you for the committee of the whole next Tuesday.
Yeah.
If that works.
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
So this is the end of Q3. Well, let's leave it, we'll get some sense of when we can get a next one, because I'd rather. Once we get into January, we won't get one for many months, right, until you build it up, so I'd like to have another kick at the cat to see what your comfort level is, so we'll leave it with us and we'll see what we can come up with for next meeting. But otherwise, we're in good shape. Everybody got that out of it?
Yes, we got that.
For the public who's watching, and we talked about the format of it, it was a very satisfactory Q3 report. So I don't think I read this, but I'll get it and then I'll ask questions. Moved by Councillor Card, seconded by Councillor Crapper. The council received the report entitled Treasury 2025 third quarter variance report for information purposes. Any other questions now? Okay, well, good job, and we've got some good feedback for our consultant. I'll call the question, all in favor, and that's carried. Okay, we're moving to bylaws, so. First bylaw is moved by Councillor Cropper, seconded by Councillor Card, that bylaw 2025-26 being a bylaw to enter into a pre-servicing agreement with Land Art Construction for phase 3 of Watercolor Westport. Be read a first, second, and third time and finally passed this 28th day of October 2025. Any other discussion? Okay, call the question, all in favor? That's carried. Thank you so much, council. 8.2 is the bylaw on the amendment to the community grants. The amendment is moved by Councillor Card, seconded by Councillor Crapper, that bylaw 2025-31, being a bylaw to amend 2024-31, being a bylaw to provide a policy for community grants, be read a first, second, and third time and finally passed this 21st day of October 2025. Any other discussion? Call the question. All in favor? Thank you. Would only have been better if this was the 31st day of October. Well, those 31 is in there.
I know.
You couldn't do that again if you tried. That's like when your grocery bill comes out to even dollars. It's the day to buy a lottery ticket. Okay, and the next bylaw is moved by Councillor Crapper, seconded by Councillor Card. That bylaw 2025-32 being a bylaw to enter into a memorandum of understanding with RVCA for the provision of sewage system compliance inspections. Be read a first, second, and third time and finally passed this 21st day of October 2025. Any discussion? Call the question, all in favor? That's good, get that in place, well done. And vending machine, moved by Councillor Card, seconded by Councillor Crapper, that bylaw 2025-33, being a bylaw to enter into an agreement with Authentic Vending Company for the provision of vending services at the WTC Communication Center. Be read a first, second, and third time and finally passes 21st day of October 2025. Everybody good with that? Call the question, all in favor? Carried. And our final bylaw is moved by Councillor Crapper, seconded by Councillor Card, that bylaw 2025-34 being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings at its meeting held on October 7th, 2025. October 21st, 2025, be read a first, second, and third time, and finally passed this 21st day of
28th day, sorry.
October 2025. Call the question, all in favor. That's what happens when you put something off a week.
Yeah.
Okay, team, I think we're gonna call for the adjournment if nobody has anything else. Oh, right, gonna do announcements.
Yeah.
First of all, any notices of motion? Any announcements? I'd just like to make an announcement about the decision that we took last month in not allowing private docks to winter in the harbor. And I've had a couple of questions. I know at least one or two of you have had questions from the public on why can't it go into that part of the harbor that is owned by the federal government? The federal government does not allow it. That's as blunt as I can be. So the feds don't allow the docks to winter in their part of the harbor. We've passed a bylaw preventing it from happening in ours. That was a discussion of council in regards to our own property that took place over many months, a lot of considerations. And yet there were still questions that came out that could people still put it in the federal side, and we wanted to make sure that the public knew and that the council was reassured that when that briefing note came out, staff checked with the federal government and they are not allowing winter dock storage in their part of our harbor. Just for clarity for the public. Any questions from the public or from the media? No, okay, thank you. Anybody have anything else here? Any announcements? Halloween? Halloween's gonna be terrific, maybe a little wet. All right, then it's moved by Councillor Carr, seconded by Councillor Crapper, that this meeting of the Council of the Village of Westport be adjourned at 5:28 PM. All in favor? Carried. Thank you, team.